school year down. You may find that this year was one of the weirdest years you've ever had. As a teacher, I can tell you it was one of the weirdest years I've had too. Being a lifelong learner, an important part of being a student here at WEA, you have to learn how to reflect. This is going to be my reflection for the year. Hope you enjoy.
When my father saw me off on my journey west, he told me he hoped I would find what God had shaped me for, and then give my whole heart to it. I thought I already knew what that was. As a teacher, I would be a molder of young minds, and an encouragement to their mothers and fathers. But in trying to give my heart to that purpose, I've learned it's much more than what's in a book. One sometimes has to go against his or her nature to dig deep into the dark trenches of life. One has to be willing to lose everything in order to gain what God has shaped them for. Because there's a cost to the things that matter most in life, and it's in that sacrifice that we find our true treasure.
Learning to be a self-directed learner is an important part of being a student here at WEA. We use this computer lab quite often. You guys might recognize it. It's a little empty without you guys. But you had a great year this year. Learning how to research in here, learning how to look up things that have the right kind of information and not just fake news. One of the most amazing things about going to WEA is being able to do year-long projects. The vertical project is a year-long project that we do every year. What you see behind us is the product of that. This is the aquaponics. I'm going to show you some other ones right now. Landscaping and design, you can see all their great stuff they did this year. A lot of really cool plants they put in, making our campus look a lot prettier. There's more stuff out the way. Reef ecology, another one of our great vertical projects, year-long project that you'll do, aside from the connections project that you do in math. These boxes you see here are part of the cold ag system. Kind of an interesting project where they run the seawater through those pipes, and then the condensation on the outside of the seawater is what waters all the plants. And they're just now getting that started. It's called cold ag, and I believe this one is called Malama Aina project. You can see the aquaponics area here, but there's also the gardening area. We have a bunch of gardens that were put in by our students. A little bit of water on the tomatoes there. You can see the melons that are growing over here. One watermelon. I'm not sure what kind of these are, but what kind of melon. A lot of them. I don't know how you tell if they're ripe, but we got a ton of them.
I've decided to let my teachers from the past inspire my remarks today, in hopes that by sharing their wisdom, it may continue to live on through your good work in our world. My first piece of advice to you is to embrace failure. Yes, failure. For it is a close friend to success, and you will rarely find one without the other. I credit Mr. Eddy, my middle school teacher and basketball coach, and probably my favorite teacher of all time, for teaching me this lesson. By all accounts, my relationship with Mr. Eddy seemed doomed from the beginning. First of all, he was a tough love kind of teacher who was quick to raise his voice at students, exactly the type of teacher that I tended not to be drawn to. To complicate matters, he was the math teacher and I was lousy at math, and I was absolutely unskilled in every way when it came to the sport of basketball. As a result of my lack of natural talent, it required my constant diligence and practice to have any hopes of even being average in either of these pursuits. One day after practice, Mr. Eddy found me alone in the corner of the gymnasium, silent tears of frustration rolling down my face. I was feeling discouraged after a rough day of school and practice, and I stood alone, throwing one unsuccessful free throw after another. Being a teacher that showed compassion in a way that was counterintuitive to me, Mr. Eddy looked at my sad face and yelled at me. He essentially told me to buck up and to see how lucky I was. Yes, lucky, since my skills were so low that I had tremendous opportunity for growth. He then gave me a strong pat in the center of my back. What I would soon learn was the equivalent of a Mr. Eddy hug, and he walked off. As soon as he was out of sight, I cried harder. But that night when I got home and I thought about his words, I started to realize he was right. And it began to change the way I looked at obstacles. It was a simple yet surprisingly profound shift of perspective for me, one in which I started to see opportunity instead of disadvantage. For the record, I did not become a top basketball player or a star math student, but I did receive the most improved player that year, and I earned a B in math, a grade that I was more proud of than all the A's I had earned on my report card before then. Looking back, I realized Mr. Eddy helped me develop an early understanding of the necessary elements of personal growth, a cyclical process that entails failure, frustration, determination, hard work, and with luck, eventually success. But as I mentioned, personal growth is a cyclical process. And in order for us to continue to grow and improve, we must be willing to continue to enter this cycle, as hard as it is. And in doing so, embrace failure as a recurring and natural part of a life well lived. Give yourself permission to fail. Once you do, you'll be a master of this truth, that the things that go wrong in life are almost always the same things that lead to other things going right. Please don't concern yourself with failure. Be concerned when you are content with failure. Otherwise, develop a taste for hardship and frustration, for they are necessary ingredients in the sweetness of a fulfilling life.
So you probably missed the campus a lot. I know I missed it a lot, and I just showed you a little bit of it. Hopefully you're looking forward to some of the vertical projects that we might be doing here in the future. I know that you had a great year. I'll see you guys next year. Aloha.